Today we're finally getting a chance to drive the 2025 Volkswagen ID Buzz. This is the Pro S Plus 4Motion, which means it costs $70,000. It's all-wheel drive, it makes 335 horsepower, and it'll do 231 miles on a full charge. Not the best range, but who cares when you can just look at this shape and look at this styling. This has got to be the coolest van on sale right now, and probably the coolest van on sale for the last few decades. I mean, just look at this thing. It kind of had to be electric, didn't it, given the current state of everything, but I think this is just so awesome to behold. The exterior styling, Volkswagen nailed it. This gets so many looks. People love to see this, and it just has so much presence, and it's very practical. Let's hop inside. We'll walk you around today. We'll talk about what it's been like to live with this week, and then we'll take you for a drive and give you guys some driving impressions. Getting into the ID Buzz is a little bit funky just because of this step, and that's reflected on the sides too. Maybe that's just to make room for the battery pack, but you do kind of have to watch yourself getting in and out of this, and your kids too, because the button to close the door is right about there, kind of where you would reach to get up into the back. All right, let's hop inside. You do get used to getting in and out of this though, and it is, I guess, sort of bus-like. To turn the vehicle on, all you do is press the brake pedal or the pause button. You've got a pause and a play button down there. This interior is called the Moonlight with brown leatherette. It's very dark, kind of hard to see at night. We don't get the optional panoramic sunroof on this ID Buzz. Personally, I would probably swing for an ID Buzz with the Dune interior, which is all white and sandy and kind of orangish. It looks really good in my opinion, though you're probably spending over $70,000 to get that. Not cheap, but you're paying for a 91 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is expensive, and I guess just a whole lot of nostalgia here, which I guess is worth something too. This interior, the first thing you notice getting into it is just this massive, expansive windscreen. I think it's pretty cool how the dashboard just goes so far forward. Not sure how difficult it would be to clean that windshield if you need to from the inside. I guess you got to have like an extension arm or something, but it makes for really good visibility, actually, especially with these side windows. Kind of a funky design. The rest of this interior just kind of feels like Volkswagen parts bin stuff, which is all pretty high quality feeling. You've got familiar switchgear here that you've seen in some other ID products, the two window switches for the front windows, and then you have to press this touch button to operate the rear windows, which just do that. You just slide back. And then this ID Buzz has a bit of a bug where you auto close it and it doesn't close, and then you have to half press it a couple more times for it to completely shut. There we go. There it is. Okay. Couple buttons down here to open your doors, which is great. Those open nice and quickly. Tons of space in this thing. And that's kind of about all you get. You've got front defrost. This has a heated windscreen, which is really cool. Rear defrost, mirror controls. You just have to kind of rotate this dial to adjust those. You can lock the vehicle right there. These touch buttons work quite well. And familiar haptic controls here on the steering wheel. And then pretty much everything else is in the infotainment screen, which they have updated. This is the new, larger infotainment screen that we're going to be seeing in the new GTI and new Volkswagen products. And I've got to say, it's a huge improvement over what Volkswagen used to do. It's pretty quick and responsive. A couple little glitches here and there, like right there. But you've got some quick access buttons here for your climate, heated and ventilated seats, which you can turn on at the same time. Pretty baller status right there. CarPlay is wireless. That's worked well this week. Lots of settings. You can change your ambient lighting. There's no back button though once you kind of get into some of these settings, so you have to go back to where you started. Here are your climate controls. You get a whole menu for that. You can put everything in auto down there. I like all these quick access climate icons down here, and I believe these light up at night now, which is nice. Still no volume knob, but this slider works for the most part. You've got a heated steering wheel control right here on the steering wheel. Very nice. And I actually have really started to like these haptic buttons on the steering wheel. They feel a lot nicer than some other efforts from other manufacturers. I don't know. I've gotten used to them this week. They're fine. I thought Volkswagen was going to get rid of them at some point. They made a whole press release that they were, and they're still here. But ultimately, I'm okay with that. My biggest complaint with Volkswagen interiors used to be the infotainment screen, but this has got to be a huge improvement. I would still prefer lots more physical controls. There's room for them. Maybe someday manufacturers will realize that copying Tesla from 15 years ago wasn't the best idea, but until then, this is fine. This is okay. I can live with this. Everything has worked pretty well this week, so no major complaints about this infotainment system. It's kind of strange to not have a stop-start switch in this, because every time you open the door, everything just shuts off. The vehicle just turns off and your climate control turns off. If you need to get in the back, adjust a car seat, or get something, you have to just go ahead and start the vehicle up all over again. You've got some quick access controls right here, like your display brightness, really nice for night driving, and then you can add some favorites on this little screen right here. Otherwise, some storage bins. You clean that space up, put something down here. Cup holders, water bottle holders, and then you have a bottle opener right here. And this can be used as an ice scraper. See, it's got a little snowflake on there. Fit that in there. And then this whole center piece comes off, and you can move it back there or back there, and it just kind of slides into these hooks, which is very clever. Let's see if I can get that back in there. Let's see where it was. There we go. Nope. Gonna make sure those are up and lined up. Just drop it down in there and it's all set. And there are some alternate bins here, which you push that down and you can store some more things in there. These seats have little crumb collectors right there. Very nice. Rubber lining on the bottom of that so things don't slide around. Nice big glove box. USB port right there on the door. I guess that's a pretty good place for a passenger to keep a phone. And let's see, I mean, just a whole lot of nostalgia in this. Ultimately, I kind of wish Volkswagen did a little bit more here with the interior. Maybe it's just the specific spec, but for 70 grand, there's still lots of scratchy plastics around here. Materials aren't particularly special. It's fine, but nowhere near as special as the exterior. Let's walk you around this just a little bit more. Here's what the remote looks like. You've got buttons to open the side doors as well as pop the tailgate. This is configured as a 6-seater. You can configure this as a 7-seater with a second row bench, but I prefer these captain's chairs. They are really nice. You've got a small parcel shelf right here, along with these storage bins, which is kind of a clever solution. You can, of course, take the third row seats out for even more room, or you can just fold them down like this. There you go. They fold flat, which is nice. And then you just pull them back up right there. Easy peasy. Not a ton of room, but again, this is an EV with a battery pack that's probably taking up all your floor space. Got a 12-volt outlet back here, a couple grocery bag hooks, which is nice. Let's hop inside and see what this interior looks like. And I'm going to open this door with the remote. Look at that. Very cool. You can even do the other side too. We'll really light up this interior, be able to see everything. Little grab handle to open your door. For a pocket right here. Here's your button to close that door. This has the Harman Kardon sound system. Heated second row seats, which is nice. It's your window switch. Although the car isn't on right now, so we can't really operate anything because we got out of it. Tons of legroom, tons of space back here. Flat floor. It's a little storage bin. Let's go see what the third row is like. Of course, there is just tons of headroom. A little bit less so in this third row, but I still have about maybe 1.5 inches above my head. Lots of space, very comfortable, no complaints about room in the ID Buzz. And I especially like how you can just kind of walk around this interior, but if you have a car seat in the second row, you can just move the whole seat forward and have access to the third row very easily without having to compromise anything with the way your car seat is set up. Let's see, this goes like that. Cool, there you go, ID Buzz interior. I haven't even looked up here yet. Is this your hood? I don't know. Oh wow, look at that. Windshield washer fluid, strap, and that's about it. Okay, there you go. I just washed this, so that was just a bunch of ice, don't worry. This is the cherry red and metro silver exterior. Two-tone paint looks really good on this. 20-inch wheels with Continental tires. These are two 35/50 R20s. Nice to see some sidewall on these. This weighs almost 6,200 pounds, so it is not light. It is a bigger vehicle with a big battery pack, but that is a lot of weight. That said, though, even with only 335 horsepower, this feels properly quick, especially for a van. Here's your charge port. You can fast charge this 10 to 80% in about 25-30 minutes. Not a ton of range here, but that's kind of the name of the game with something that's shaped like a brick that weighs 6,200 pounds. All right, let's hop inside and we'll go for a drive. Get this little shifter here, push forward to put it into drive, push it again to put it into B, which is braking mode. This does not have one pedal driving, but with B mode, regenerative braking mode, you could almost come to a stop off throttle, which is great. Reverse camera, big disappointment on resolution here. Not the best resolution, but it does have good low light performance, and the 360 camera does show you what you need to see. It even rotates a little bit under full lock, which is nice. But for 2025, the resolution is just a little bit disappointing. Push the side parking brake button to put it into park, and those are your drive controls. 68% battery. We have 130 miles of estimated range. It is cold out, 21 degrees Fahrenheit today. So we have been seeing quite a range hit, only seeing about maybe 180 miles on a full charge in this ID Buzz this week with these colder temperatures. So quite a big hit from the rated 231. So what's this like to drive? Well, the visibility is awesome. You can see pretty well out of your rear view mirror. Side mirrors, the passenger side is really nice and wide angle. I think the mirrors look cool too. They just have a neat shape to them. Ride quality is nice, comfortable. Not too crashy over bumps, pretty good NVH at city speeds. You get this on the highway and there is a little bit of wind noise just due to its shape. Brake pedal tuning is a bit funky. It took some getting used to this week. This handles better than you would expect it to because all the weight is down low with that battery pack. And honestly, it's pretty darn quick. We do get a few different drive modes, though probably just leave it in comfort for this drive. We might go into sport mode for whatever it's worth, but really that's only going to adjust throttle response. A few little shakes and rattles in this interior this week, but some of that could be chalked up just to the fact that it's been really cold, and in the winter time lots of little random rattles pop up. Nothing major, nothing permanent that we've seen show up over and over again. The seats kind of make a little bit of noise in the back too, but that's, again, pretty typical for any van. Overall, as a driving experience, it's very nice. Surprisingly quick. The 4Motion is really nice. It puts its power down really well. You could save a little bit of money and go rear-wheel drive. Let's go into sport mode and see what that does. Good mechanical grip. No complaints there. It does feel heavy. There's a kickdown switch at the bottom of the accelerator pedal, which feels a little bit strange in an EV, but again, more parts bin stuff from Volkswagen. No surprise there. Cruise control. we get 3 different modes. Travel assist, which is semi-autonomous driving. That works great. Adaptive cruise control, and then just classic cruise control. I've been using travel assist quite a bit this week, and it works great. You can skip 5-mile-an-hour increments by hard pressing on these haptic icons, or 1 mile an hour just by soft pressing. There's kind of a double indent that goes in with haptic feedback when you press on those buttons. A little bit of wind noise at highway speeds, not terrible though, but definitely you notice that you're going a little bit faster in a bus. Go into eco mode here. In B mode, you get pretty strong regenerative braking off throttle. Eco mode definitely dulls your throttle response and outright power. And yeah, you can really push around a corner. I'm not really comfortable pushing harder than that. Let's put it back into drive, take it out of B. In that mode, it'll just coast pretty endlessly. Only unfortunate thing about the brake pedal is that the amount of bite that you get out of the braking system is inconsistent. And it really does feel like you're bringing a lot of mass down from speed. I wish that Volkswagen would just tune in a good one-pedal drive system and have that a setting that you can just consistently set, because it is weird having to go into B mode every time you start up the vehicle and choosing that. It's another thing to think about, and it's an inconsistency that you may not be adapted to in the moment. And I don't really like using the brake pedal on this car. It just doesn't give me a lot of confidence. The rear-wheel drive ID Buzz has around 280 horsepower, so you're not really giving up that much in terms of power going rear-wheel drive. Ultimately, if you live in a northern climate in the Salt Belt, you'll probably want 4Motion. Great ride quality here, super comfortable. Ultimately, I've really enjoyed driving this ID Buzz this week. It's one of the better electric driving experiences that I've had from Volkswagen. I think they've gone through and dialed a lot of things and a lot of nitpicks and complaints that I used to have with the ID4 that we drove. They've kind of addressed here. It's a nice electric vehicle to live with. It's just a little bit expensive and a little bit short on range, but it makes up for all of that in cool factor. It is just so neat to walk up to and experience and see the smiles on people's faces. Everyone loves it. It's a really charming vehicle, and it makes you feel like you're in something cool and in something special. We haven't seen a lot of retro offerings lately, and it's really cool that Volkswagen actually built this ID Buzz and made it look like it does. Let's go in and do a quick sound system test here. sound system is decent. It's for the money. It's not amazing though. It's just kind of standard, average Volkswagen stuff. Nothing too surprising there. All right, so summing up the ID Buzz. Tons of cool factor, tons of nostalgia, overflowing with just personality on the exterior. I wish the interior were a little bit more special and exciting, but I think that largely depends on your spec to an interior color. The Dune interior is probably the way to go, honestly. It's expensive. The screen is still distracting as hell. I think it's borderline kind of dangerous, but all new cars have this these days. Whether you're willing to put up with the lack of buttons on your own is kind of the decision you're gonna have to make. Ultimately, as a vehicle to live with, I've really enjoyed this week. It's so fun to get into, to walk up to experience, to drive. The view out of the front is really unique, I think, and very special. The range, okay, it's just kind of on that edge of having a little bit of range anxiety, but honestly, who's driving more than 200 miles a day on your kind of regular local commute? I think ultimately, people, a little bit of off-roading here in the ID Buzz, people who get these are going to be using them as their kind of around town runabouts, their family vehicles, maybe a second family vehicle. You're not going to be road tripping this, even though that's kind of the ethos that it follows. It does pretty well on the snow. These tires don't do well on the ice, but there's so much weight here that it actually has decent traction in the snow. We had some more grippy snow earlier this week, and this performed surprisingly well. Doesn't have a ton of ground clearance. You're not going to be off-roading it, but it's probably enough to get you to your campsite. Volkswagen does offer some neat accessories for this to put on the roof and stuff like that. Will it rip a donut? I don't know. Let's find out. I don't think so. Not really. All right, guys. Well, there's the ID Buzz. I think it's going to wrap up my thoughts on this week. Surprisingly fun and enjoyable to live with. I wasn't really expecting to enjoy driving this and living with it as much as I did. As long as you have an at-home charging solution, the range isn't that big of a deal if you can just kind of top this off at home or at work every day. I wouldn't want to be relying on public charging stations for this. It just doesn't quite have the range or the efficiency for it. I've been averaging about 1.8 miles per kilowatt hour in this, which isn't great. So, that's down to the weight, down to the shape. There's only so much you can do with physics. But at the end of the day, still, despite its EV compromises, I think it enhances the fact that this vehicle this is the modern interpretation of the Volkswagen bus. And it's just so freaking cool because of it. So we'll end on that note. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Horn test? That's cool.